Hello and welcome back to the Unbearable Reds. I'm your host Carl, and today we're going to be having a look at a possible heir for the best teeth on Merseyside, Roberto Firmino. With him now being 28, in the next 2 to 3 years, we are seriously going to have the conversation about potentially replacing him. And I think now having this conversation is just pragmatic, because if you've got a plan in place to take care of a key player potentially not being at the same level anymore, or potentially being moved on from the club, you need to have a clear plan in place to maintain the level of performance throughout the team. So I'm going to go about this by looking at 3 players, one who is in the team now, one who is in the academy, and one who we can potentially bring in. First of all, let's take a look at Bobby himself and see exactly what we will one day need to replace. As we all know, Bobby is a striker, but he's not a striker in the traditional sense. Despite him being on number 9, goal scoring isn't really his responsibility on our side. We've got Mo and Mane for that. His role is to provide link-up play and key passes for the inside forwards, and to aggressively press opposition defences and midfields, win the ball back, to then be able to convert that into creating chances for our goal-scoring threats. His job in the team requires him to be selfless and to create opportunities rather than take them himself, which is a rare trait in most strikers, and especially at the top level, which is what we need. Also, very often you'll see Bobby Firmino dropping very, very deep to hold the midfield area, defence area, to win that ball back and create those chances there. And so he acts like an extra man for us at the back when we are really under the cosh. He's very much everywhere all over the pitch. If I was gonna liken Bobby Firmino to a legendary player, I'd probably liken him to Johan Cruyff. Not necessarily in ability, because Johan Cruyff is one of the greatest to have ever played the game, and Bobby Firmino, as good as he is, probably is not that level just yet. What I mean when I say I'd compare him to Johan Cruyff is he just pops up wherever you need him to, does whatever damage he can, whether that's winning a ball back and playing a pass, whether that's helping out with the defence to be able to press the ball forward, whether it's just being in the middle of the box to provide a flick or a back heel from one side of the pitch to the other to get a goal scoring opportunity. He's very much in that mould of player. As I mentioned, that's what we need to replace. So how are we going to go about that? What players have we got in the squad, in the academy, and who could we potentially bring in to fill this gap when it appears? I want to start by having a look in the academy first of all, and I want to have a look at Rhian Brewster, because he's the main striker from the academy that's most likely to be taking a step up to the squad in the next couple of years. So let's have a little look at what he brings to the table and whether he could potentially be that kind of player. So he was sent out on loan to Swansea City in January, and he's played 11 games, scoring 4 goals in that time, which isn't a terrible return. He could have possibly done better, but I'm not really going to be complaining about that for him. It's his first time having real first team football for a team of any level, so I personally think that's a decent return, and I think if the season would have carried on and not been suspended as it has, that goal tally would have gone up for him. And prior to his move to Swansea as well, he played in the Cups for Liverpool, put in some good performances. He did flatter to deceive at times, but I think that was more to do with the fact that he was playing with a lot of players that he wasn't used to. Although most of the team was a youth team, there was still a lot of players in the midfield and out wide that he wasn't used to playing with. So, it's not a great indicator of his ability, but Klopp seems to rate him very, very highly, which is always a good indicator as far as I'm concerned. So, does he have what it takes to take over from Bobby? That will all depend on what happens for him in the next couple of years. A couple more loans to maybe the Championship and maybe a loan to the Prem, following the same path that Harry Wilson's taken, could be a massive benefit for him. Depending on how he grows during that time, we'll start to see exactly what kind of player we're going to have on our hands. And does he have the qualities that I listed before for Bobby Firmino? Right now, no, but he can develop them. He's got the time to be able to develop those skills. That's it. That's provided that we stick with the Bobby Firmino role when Bobby's no longer able to facilitate it. If we have a tactical change and we have our number 9 be an actual number 9, and we need an aggressive goal scoring speed merchant, then Rhian Brewster, boom, sorted. Hello, so you've made it this far into the video, so you must be liking what you're seeing. If you are, please give us a like, please subscribe, please share with your friends, drop a comment, do whatever you want. Also check out some of our other videos. I've mentioned Timo Werner a couple of times in this video. We do have a video about him. Thanks for your time, enjoy the video. So keeping it in-house at the moment, I want to have a look at a player who's currently in the main squad who could potentially be groomed, not in that way, to take over from Bobby. And I'm picking Takumi Minamino. Sadly, I think Origi will be leaving in the next transfer window. If we were going to see him challenging for that first team place and establishing himself in the team, we'd see more of it this season. Unfortunately, he hasn't kicked on from his heroics of the previous season when he got good performances and good goals in the Champions League, scored some big important goals for us in important games, not just Barcelona but listen, Newcastle, Burnley, etc., even in the derby, and he just hasn't kicked on. He's still remained the same player, and as I've mentioned in previous videos, we can do better than that. So Minamino, why am I picking him? Well, number one, after Origi, I don't really have another choice. And two, I think we've already seen a little bit of what Klopp would do with him if he was going to be groomed to be Firmino's replacement. So in the limited games that he started for Liverpool in the Cups, he's played through the middle in Roberto Firmino's position. And if we are being honest, he's looked terrible so far. He hasn't looked good at all. But I'm not going to hold that against him or write him off or criticise him too harshly for that. He's still very new to the club. He's new to the system. He'd come to Liverpool in January, coming off, I think it was about a 2-month-ish break. So he wasn't even firing on all cylinders when he arrived at the club. And he hasn't had many first team opportunities. The ones he's had, he have been with some of the poorer players that we have in the team in the Cups. And the times that he's played with the first team, you can tell he's a new player. He doesn't know what he's doing really in our system. So yeah, given all those caveats, I'm not willing to write him off just yet. I think he's going to be a good player for us in the long term going forward. What I've actually done, I've gone back and I've looked at some of the games I played for Salzburg, where he played up front and he played either side of Erling Haaland as a second striker. And in watching those games, you can really see why we bought him. And he was doing a lot of what Bobby Firmino does through the middle, but from wide. And that includes the winning of the ball and playing the ball into the middle for Haaland. That includes tracking back to help out with defence when needed. That includes creating opportunities, creating space, doing everything that Bobby Firmino does. Obviously not as good, but from a wide position. So if you can adapt that through the middle and just basically play the role he played at Salzburg through the middle, I can't see any reason why he can't take over from Bobby Firmino with the players around him, understudying Bobby as well, learning the role from him himself. He could absolutely be a solid option to potentially take over from Bobby Firmino. Not now, obviously not, but like in a couple of years' time when he's developed as a player, when he's developed at the club. Absolutely, why not? Another issue that Minamino would have that he'd have to overcome is the fact that he would need to bulk up significantly. The guy is rake thin, and to be a line leader in the Premier League, you need something about you. You need a bit of mass, and because just look at Bobby. I mean, Bobby's not massively muscular or anything by any stretch of the imagination, but he's got build. You know, you can tell there's some weight behind the lad. And Minamino doesn't have that, so he would have to build up his muscle mass and adapt his game that he played at Salzburg through the middle rather than from out wide. But yeah, I think that'd be a solid option for us going forward, and it also mean we wouldn't have to spend any more money if that's the case. I know we've got potentially got Timo Werner coming in as well, who would also be in competition for the playing through the middle in Bobby's role, but I don't think he would come in and do that. If we're going to buy Werner, I think he would be more used in our inside forward slots because he can play either side of the striker, and that's where our goals come from. So if you're Timo Werner coming to Liverpool, why would you want to play in the middle where we don't get our goals from? You'd want to play either the Mane or the Mo role and get the goals. So I think you can fit the ball in, yeah, maybe. Another good point adapting Minamino as well is that this is probably the path of least resistance to implement. You're not having to make sweeping changes to our attack and setup and how we go forward and how we attack and how we break teams down and how we create chances, because all you're doing is just a like-for-like swap. Whereas, as I mentioned with Rhian Brewster before, to really get the best out of him, you're potentially looking at a tactical change which may not go well. With Takumi Minamino already having the skill set that Bobby possesses, obviously not at the same level yet, but potentially can do. You're not having to make any tactical changes, just a like-for-like swap, and hopefully things tick over as they have been currently. And finally, the wildcard option, the transfer. Somebody we can bring in to the club. No, it's not Timo Werner. I'm not doing Timo Werner again, not just yet. It's Erling Haaland, actually. It's actually Erling Haaland. Can you name a better young striker in world football right now? Yes, you can. Kylian Mbappe, but I'm not talking about Mbappe. I am talking about Erling Haaland. This kid, as you all know, has exploded onto the scene this season. Fantastic performance and bags of goals in the Champions League, and he put in some good performances against Liverpool as well, and we're the best team in the world, so if you can put in a good performance against our defence, against Verge, against Alisson, you've got something about you. I mean, I think he played against Adrian, but that's not the point. And he moved from Salzburg to Dortmund in January and just kicked on. If anything, he improved. He smashed in fucking loads of goals in his first 4 games, and then he dropped off a little bit, and then he started scoring goals again, and then the league stopped. So, you know, I think as a goal-to-game ratio, he's currently probably Dortmund's best converter. Easy. And he's genuinely going to be one of the best forwards in world football in the next couple of years. I mean, I know people think he's got a bad attitude and that, oh yeah, God, you know, he's arrogant, he's this, he's that. He's 18 years old, fucking talented, and he's getting paid loads of money. Of course he's arrogant. As we're talking about a potential replacement for Bobby Firmino, I'd look at him in the sense of not being in Bobby's mould. This would require a tactical change, because I liken Haaland more to a Lewandowski than I would a Bobby Firmino, and that's not a drawback, not really. I don't really think it's a drawback having to make a tactical change if you're doing that change for a player like Haaland. As I've already mentioned, replacing Bobby Firmino is going to be a massive task. He is such a unique player in his position and in his style and what he does, and to be able to find a player with all those qualities and to be world class to go along with it, why bother? It's nigh impossible. The only options that you've got is to groom a player, which could take years, or just change your tactical style. And I think if we change our tactical style to suit more of a brutal goal scorer, is the only way I could describe it, you could definitely fit Haaland in there. And also on top of that, eventually we are going to have to change our system. You can't play the same system forever. Even the great managers have always changed their systems. Bob Paisley changed our system. Even Dalglish changed our system. Hate to say it, but Sir Alex Ferguson, famous for being able to change his system and adapt. You know, it's one of those things that's going to have to happen. So, you know, rather than potentially getting a subpar Bobby Firmino in to carry on playing that tactical system that may be redundant in 3 years' time, why not keep it fresh? Why not change it up and bring in a striker like Haaland, who is different, who offers something different, and then build a new attacking approach around that? But he's just signed for Dortmund, I hear you shout. Not a problem, actually. When he signed for Dortmund in January, he had a release clause put in his contract, which is only active after 2 years with the club. So, after 2 years, we could go to Dortmund, offer them the transfer fee. He's free to negotiate with us. We're the best team in the world. Probably still will be in the next couple of years if we continue to perform and grow the way we have. Why wouldn't he want to come to us? And that release clause for Haaland is only £50 million. Only £50 million. Think about it. Think about the money that we're talking about to buy an Mbappe. For 50 million, you could get Erling Haaland in 2 years' time. After he spent 2 years at a club renowned for developing youth talent. He's 18, he'll be 20 at the time. We can bring him in. Why not? Why not do it? Why not do it? Why not adapt? Why not change? Or we can just stick to the system that we've got and adapt Minamino and spend no money. Or we can do both and have Rhian Brewster or somebody else. There's literally hundreds of players out there we could potentially sign, but this is just the one I picked. So, right, so that's my plan of action, if you will, for potentially replacing Bobby Firmino when the time comes. If there's any players that you think could step up to the role, or if there's any players that you think we should sign, or if you think my opinion on Takumi Minamino is absolute horseshit, please let me know in the comments down below. And as always, until next time, up the Reds.